Today in the bunker, we're going to talk about the ancient art of rivet making. I know it's riveting, isn't it? Now, I've used rivets before on a lot of my projects, and generally what I do is I take a 1/16 inch hole punch and punch them out of usually like drink carton material. And that gives it a pretty good appearance. I like the way those come out. And to do that, you just take your punched pieces, which I'll try and show you. There's a couple right there. You just take some PVA glue or some super glue and just make a little dot about the size of the rivet. Pick it up on your hobby knife and put that right there. And that makes for a pretty good rivet. And for some projects, that can take about 1,000,000 years. But depending on what you're working on, it's sometimes a very good option. You can also use pieces of stretched out plastic sprue. I haven't really experimented with that, but I know it gives a good result because you get a very, if you can stretch it consistently, you get a consistent size, or you can buy plastic rods and use those, styrene rods, whatever. Recently, though, I was watching the Platypus Scotsman. He has a really good channel, lots of neat stuff. Go check him out. I'll put a link in the description. And he turned me on to this good thing, which is a little spendy, but it's intended to be a leather punch. It's from Tandy Leather, and it's for making holes for sewing. And what I've done is, he just uses it as is from what I can tell, which it's great as is, but the little piece, that little awl in there, is very, 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 I mean, it's hashtag really, really pointy. And I got a little heavy-handed on most of my rivets, so I would end up punching a hole through the styrene, and that's what I use it with, is that styrene. So what I did was I took a needle file or a Swiss file and rounded that off, made it more of a ball on the end. And once you do that, it pretty much mostly prevents you from going through the styrene. And you'll kind of get the feel, you practice for a little bit, you'll get the feel of when you know you've gone just far enough. But you just put that on there. It's really kind of hard to see on camera, especially with my poor lighting. But you just push that down, and anywhere you want to rivet on the other side, that pokes right through. And if you decide you don't want to rivet there, sometimes, depending on the material, you can go back and flatten that back out, or you can make it look like a different sort of rivet. If you push that hard enough, you can actually punch a hole through there. Not really good to do on the edge because it kind of warps that. But anyway, it's a really good tool. I did some experimenting. You can even do it with chipboard. And here are some of the pieces I pushed through compared to the rivets that I've glued on. So I think these are still probably the better rivets. However, if you had to do 100 or so of them, this would probably be faster. You just got to get that feel. With the heavier chipboard, you'll kind of feel when it breaks through that back layer, because this is multiple layers, and it'll keep it from going all the way through. Although if you do punch all the way through, like I think that one actually did, you could put a little dab of white glue on there as you go, and that would keep it from looking like it had been punched through. So also, if you put Mod Podge and paint mix on that, that would seal that up too, and probably be a lot faster. You just do the whole thing with Mod Podge. So anyway, that's, like I said, that's about a $30 tool, and of course I immediately took a file to it and started wrecking it, but it works really good for what I'm doing with it. And I highly recommend that, and or the trusty 1/16 inch paper punch. You can't go wrong with this, and it's cheap. They're like $7 or $8. So It's just a case of what you want to do. Also, you can use this with the thinner styrene, and you can make styrene sheet rivets, which are really, really good. Hashtag really, really. And they'll come out looking very much like these, and you can probably a little easier to place. This has the restriction of you can only push that material in there so far. One advantage it has, if your rivets are close to the sides, like here's a piece I just did, you can add the rivets directly to your piece if it's plastic, like these bubblegum containers. You can take these, figure out where you want your rivets, and just kind of go in and put that in there, and boom, you got a rivet. Now, getting up to the very top is a little problematic. I didn't get quite as close on the top as I would have liked, but it still doesn't look bad. And if you really had to, you could easily, well, maybe not easily, but you could remove this spring so you could get that little extra bit of bite on there. So, great tool. I highly recommend this. Like I said, I know it's a little spendy, and for those on a budget, which is usually me, I splurged on this. Probably the 1/16 inch punch is a better option, and it's pretty versatile. So you can't go wrong with either of these. So hopefully that's helpful. I know today's kind of a quick one. I just wanted to get something out there. I'll let you know I hadn't died yet, and hope you guys have a fantastic day. Freya, this is not really very helpful.